How much pressure is he actually under?
I think he's on a huge amount of pressure now. And I think yesterday Steve Baker's speech was kind of symbolic of what was happening behind the scenes, that he's losing the right of his party as well as the kind of liberal left of his party. And that's a big problem for him, because they're the ones who stopped the coup from happening last time.
Well, it's a bit annoying though, isn't it? Because for me, looking on at this, I'm thinking, well, for those who voted for the Conservative Party, they voted specifically probably because Boris was at the helm. Because, as you know, they didn't want to vote for the Labour Party because we had, what's his face on there? Jeremy Corbyn, right? So they didn't. So leaders have a lot of impact. And actually, I find it somewhat irritating that the members within the Parliament, his MPs should dictate who the leaders should be. They'll lose in the next election, I think, if they get rid of them.
I think you're probably right. I mean, my article was really based on the fact that I can see the net closing in on him, and his party, to a large extent, or the MPs in his party, have allowed that to happen, and in some cases encouraged that to happen. I mean, some of them, of course, are ambitious themselves, Mr. Baker,
well,
and Mr. Harper. But
yes.
it's. I mean, I agree with you. I have no doubt that. I think the Conservatives would have won the last election, but they wouldn't have won by as big a amount. And Boris has a cut through that none of the alternatives have.
And because when I listen, I hear people saying, oh, well, I lost a loved one during the pandemic and so on and so forth. And I have every sympathy for that, because I know that's a horrendous thing. But I don't think anyone's looking at how many lives he actually would have saved for the speed of his rollout, the vaccine rollout. And I think a lot of people are looking at this because there are stages of grief, and one of them is anger. And I think a lot of people are still in this anger phase. And if you look at the wider picture, there's a lot going on, and this is a very dangerous time to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, the wider picture, we have a Prime Minister who has largely got the big decisions right. I mean, a lot of us haven't entirely agreed with the time he carried on with lockdowns and restrictions, but, he got the vaccine right, he's got Brexit right, at least as far as Conservative voters are concerned. He's got Ukraine right in bucket loads. Yeah. And, this is a guy whose instincts are fantastic, but it's the distractions around him which are undermining the good work he's doing.